Hello students, welcome to today's session. In this video I am going to discuss about conditional constructs in Java. So before we understand conditional constructs, let us see a program without any conditional construct. So I have written three functions here, fun1, fun2 and fun3. Okay. Let's say I call the function 1 first. Okay. Now, if I do that, the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. After 4 is printed, okay, that is after this line executes, control will come to line number 10. Okay. In line number 10, we have a function call. That means now the control will come to function 2. Okay, control will come to function 2 and then 5 will get printed. Then the control will go back to the function 1 and then 6 is going to print, 6 is going to get printed. And then in the next line again we have a function call. Okay, fun3 will be called and 7 will get printed. Then the control will come back to the function 1 and then 8 will get printed. So, if you see, the flow of control in this program is sequential in a linear manner, okay, line by line, line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, line number 5, then 6, then 7, then 8. The control is flowing in a sequential manner. But in real life situations, we need to make decisions based on some condition. Okay? If some condition is true, then we need to do something, and if that condition is not there, that means we have to do something else. For example, if we talk about the legal age for voting in India, that is 18 years, and if a person is below 18 years, then the person is not allowed to vote, and if the person is above 18 years, the person is allowed to vote. Okay? So, we need to take decisions based on some condition, and since programs are used for solving our real life problems, we should have some way of deciding that which statements should be executed and which statements should not be executed based on some condition. So, to handle this kind of situation, we have conditional constructs. Okay, it is also known as conditional branching, and it allows you to decide the flow of control of your program. Then there are two types of conditional constructs, the if statement and the switch statement. Let us talk about if first of all. Now, if has got 4 varieties. One is just if statement, second one is if else statement, third one is if else if, and fourth one is nested if. So, let's see some small programs to understand these different kinds of if statement. So, let us say I have declared a variable here, int num is equal to, or let us say int age is equal to 18. Okay. Now, if we talk about the syntax of if, this is the syntax. So, the condition must be a Boolean expression, okay, which will either result in true or false, and then we will have a block. Now, this block will execute only when the condition is true. So, let us implement this. So, if I will write a Boolean expression here, age is age is greater or equal to 18. Now, if this condition is true, then I am going to display a message here that you are eligible to vote. Okay. So, let us compile this and see the output. So, as you can see, the result is you are eligible to vote. Now, let us make the value of age as 28 and let us compile it. So, again you can see the answer is the output is you are eligible to vote. Now, let us make the value of age below 18. Okay. Let us take 8. Now, you see when I am calling the function, there is no output. Okay. So, that means what? When the age is below 18, then this particular statement is not getting executed. So, our if statement is deciding whether this statement on line number 10 should execute or not. Okay. Let me write one more print line statement here. Okay, let us see the output now. So, now the output is simply by. Okay. So, you can see that branching is happening here. Okay. If this condition is true, okay, this particular block of code is going to execute. Okay. And in either case, the statement after the if block is going to execute. So, there is branching happening here. There are two branches. So, if the value of age is okay, now let us see if else. Okay. If else. In this program, we are not handling the situation when the age is not greater or equal to 18. Okay. We do not have any we do not have any set of statements to execute when the age is below 18. So, when you want to do that, you can use if else. So, this block, this particular block represents the true statements and this particular block represents the false statements. Okay. So, let us display a message here that you are not eligible to vote. Okay. You are not eligible to vote. So, let us compile it and see the output. The age is below 18. So, the output is you are not eligible to vote, and then buy. So, you see, you can use the else statement when your condition fails in the if statement. So, if the condition is true, execute this block, and if the condition is false, then execute this block. So, this is if else. Now, let us talk about the third type of if, that is if else if. So, if else if allows you to check multiple conditions. So far, we are just checking one condition here, whether age is greater or equal to 18 or not. Okay. Now, if you want to check for multiple conditions, we can use if else if. So, to demonstrate that, I am going to write another program, okay, which will see that. Okay, first of all, let us declare three variables here. Int a, let us make it 3, then b, let us make it 5, and c, let us make it 9. So, I have declared three integer variables a, b, c with the values 3, 5, 9, and then I am going to find out the largest of the three numbers. Okay. So, I am going to write a is, if a is greater than b and a is also greater than c. That means, I will display a is largest. Okay. Now, if this condition fails, if the first condition fails, then I am going to check for second condition. Okay. Second condition is that if b is greater than a and b is also greater than c, then I am going to print b is largest. And finally, I will check if c is greater than a and c is also greater than b, then I am going to print c is largest. Okay. So, let's compile this and execute. So, you see it is printing c is largest, and in fact, you can see that c has got the value 9. So, it is largest. Now, let us make b largest. So, I am changing the value of b to 15. Let us compile and see, this time it should show us b is largest. Similarly, let us make a the largest. So, a is 33 now. Let us compile and execute. So, here you can see it is printing a is largest. Okay. So, when you have to check multiple conditions, as I have done here, okay, condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, in that case you have to use if else if. Okay. And let us say if all the condition fails, here, then we can write so. Now, I am going to write a statement here that the numbers are equal. So, the output for this should be okay. So, now I have changed the values of a, b and c. Okay, a is 3, b is 3 and c is also 3, and I have added an else statement here. Okay. This else will execute only when all the above conditions associated with if fail. Okay. So, if all the above conditions fail, then this else part is going to execute. So, this time it should print that the numbers are equal, because none of the above conditions will be true. So, let us compile this and see the output. So, as you can see, the output this time is numbers are equal. Okay. So, this is if, else, if. And now notice one more thing, that when you have got a single statement, then there is no need for creating the block. Okay, no need for curly brackets, but it is usually recommended that you do use curly brackets, so that if you add more lines of code to any block, then it will not cause any problem. Okay. So, if you add curly brackets like this, that is a better approach. So, we are done with all the three types of if statement. Now, we will talk about nested if. Okay. So, let me change the values of a, b and c. This time it will be a will be 1, b will be 2 and c will be 3. So, here I am going to write a condition if a equals 1. Okay. Now, inside this block, inside this if block, I am going to write another if. Okay. If b equals 2, you can see that this particular if block is inside another if block. So, this is known as nested if. Let us remove one of the variables here, it is not required. So, if both the conditions are true, if a is 1 and b is 2, I am going to print Java. Okay. So, let us see the output for this. So, as you can see, the output is Java, because this condition is checked first, a equals 1. So, a is equal to 1. So, the condition is true. Now, the control comes inside and then the value of b is checked. So, 2 equals 2, this one is also true. So, control finally comes to line number 13 and this prints Java. Okay. Now, let us change the value of b. So, I have changed it to 3. Let us compile it and execute again. This time you can see that there is no output. There is no output because the control does not reach line number 13. This condition is true. Line number 9, the first if, its condition is true. So, control comes to line number 11. This condition is false. So, this condition is false. So, this statement does not execute. Now, let me add else here. So, this else part will execute when this condition is false, when b is not equal to 2. Okay. And always remember that if you want to find out that which else is associated with which if, you have to look immediately above the else statement and see the nearest if. So, if you look above this else statement, the nearest if is this one. Okay. So, this else belongs to this if, okay, not to this if. So, be careful about it. So, the output for this should be school, because A equals 1, this is true, but B equals 2, this is false. This is false, so else part will execute and the output will be school. Okay, so let us compile and see the output for this. So, as you can see, the output is school. So, students, this is nested if. Now, let us talk about the second type of conditional construct in Java, and that is the switch statement. So, switch statement is just like if else if, okay. And so, it allows you to select one of many code blocks, okay, same as if else if. So, in the case of if else if, you have multiple conditions and only one if is going to be true and only one block is going to execute. The remaining blocks are skipped. Similarly, in switch also, you can see that we have got case x, case y and default. Okay. So, this is the syntax of switch. First you have to write switch and then inside the parenthesis you will have expression. Okay. This expression here must be of byte type, short type, int, char or string. Okay. You cannot use any other type. So, this expression's value will be checked with, will be compared with the different cases, and wherever there is a match, that particular block is going to execute. So, let us see an example. Let us declare a few more variables here. So, C equals 4, D equals, okay, no need of variables, we will just keep one variable and we will assign some value to it. Okay. Let us say 2, and then I am going to use this A as the expression for switch. Okay. Now, we will define different cases. Okay. So, case 1, if the value of A matches with case 1, I am going to print value of A is 1, okay, and then I will use the break statement. Similarly, I will have a few more cases. So, case 2 and case 3, and I will also have a default case. Okay. So, here I am going to print A value of A is something else. Here this should be 2 and this should be 3. Okay. So, the expression A its value will be compared with all the different cases, and wherever there is a match, that particular block is going to execute, and if there is no match with any of the cases, then the default case is going to execute. So, in this example, the value of A is 2. So, first of all, A, that is 2, will be compared with the first case, and the value here is 1. Okay. So, 2 and 1, they are compared. So, this is not equal. So, this case will not be executed. Okay. Then the next case is 2. So, now we have got 2, which matches with the value of the expression here. Okay. So, this time this particular block will execute, and it will print value of A is 2. Okay. And after that is done, this break statement will cause the control to come out of the switch. Okay. So, let us see the output. So, as expected, the output is value of A is 2. Let us change the value of A, let us make it 1. So, this time the output should be value of A is 1. Okay. Similarly, let us check 3 also. When I make the value of A is 3, so the output should be value of A is 3, and let us make it 45 now. So, none of the cases will match. So, this time the default case will execute. Okay. Value of A is something else. So, this should be the output. So, as you can see, value of A is something else. Now, let us talk about fall through. Okay. Fall through is a situation when you have a break missing in one of the cases. So, in that case, what will happen? That wherever there is a match, that particular case will execute, and the next case is also going to execute. Okay. And it will keep on falling until it finds a break. Okay. So, let us define a few more cases here, so that it will be easier for you to understand. So, let us make it 4 and 5. Okay, and I am going to remove the break here, okay, from case 2, case 3 also, and I will remove break from case 4 also. So, you can see there is no break here, there is no break here, and there is no break here. Okay. And I am going to change the value of A to 2. Okay. So, the match will happen here. Okay. That means, this will get executed first, value of A is 2. Now, since there is no break statement here, control will go to the next case also, and it will not check, it will not compare this 3 with the value of A, it will directly execute whatever is there inside case 3. Okay. So, value of A is 3 will get printed, and again the control will fall through to the next case also. Similarly, 4 will not be compared with A, directly whatever is there inside case 4, that is going to execute. Okay. So, it will print value of A is 4, and then again the control will come to this case 5, and it will print value of A is 5. But now, this time we have got a break here, and since we have got a break, the control will come out of the switch. Okay. I will just make one more case here, case 6. So, this particular case is not going to execute. The output will be value of A is 2, value of A is 3, value of A is 4, value of A is 5. Okay. So, let us see the output. As you can see, value of A is 2, value of A is 3, value of A is 4, value of A is 5. So, this is the output. Okay. And this situation is known as fall through. Fall through happens when there is no break in a particular case. Okay. Now, let us change the value of a to 1. Okay. So, there will be a match with this case. So, value of a is 1 is going to get printed, and then there is a break. So, control will come out of the switch, output should be value of a is 1, as you can see. So, I hope you have understood switch case. Now, as I told you, you can only have byte, short, int, char and string as the expression for switch. So, just to demonstrate it, let's write a float type here. Okay. Let's make a as float and give some float value to it, 2.55. Now, when you see when I compile this, I will get an error. Okay. Possibly lossy conversion from float to int. So, float, double and other non-primitive types are not allowed, only string is allowed. So, let us test a string type. Okay. So, string a is equal to hi. So, if I compile this, you can see that there is no error in this particular line, okay, but there is an error. The error is that int cannot be converted to string. That means, since the type of a is string, we need to have string values here, string literals, okay, not integer literals. So, let's change it. Okay. Hi. So, first case is hi, and let's make the second case as bye. Okay. And let's remove the other cases. I have added a break statement. So, this time let's compile, and you can see that there is no error. Okay, now let us see the difference between if else if and switch. Okay. First difference is when you are using if else if, okay, you can use any data type. Okay. There is no restriction in using the type of data. There is no restriction in using the type of data. So, if I write if statement here, I can very well use a double or float type. So, double t is equal to 9.8. Okay. So, I can write if t is greater than 10.5. Okay, if I compile this, you can see that there is no error, although I have used t variable which is of type double, but if I use a t here, the double type, it will give me an error. So, this is the first difference, that if can use any condition, it can use any data type, whereas switch cannot use any data type. It can use only byte, short, int, char and string only. Okay. Next, second difference is that if can check only for, if can check any kind of relation, whether equal to, be it equal to, be it greater equal to, less than equal to, less than, greater than, not equal to. Okay. But if we talk about switch can only check for equality, isn't it? Okay. It can check, it will compare the expression here and the value here, whether they are equal or not. So, only equality, it can, the switch statement can only check for equality. It cannot check for greater than, less than, okay, all the relational operators it cannot check. So, that is the second difference. And finally, in case of if, you can combine multiple conditions with the help of logical operators. So, logical operators can be used in case of if else, and logical operators cannot be used in case of switch. Okay. Okay. When I say that logical operators cannot be used and string and some data type cannot be used, that is applicable only for the expression and the value. Okay. Inside the case blocks, those rules do not apply. Okay. That means what? I can have a double variable inside the case block, that is allowed. That is allowed. Okay. So, if I compile this, it will not cause any error. Similarly, I can write a condition here if AA is greater than 100 or 100. Okay. So, you can see that I have used greater than relational operator. So, this will also compile. Okay. So, I hope you have understood the difference between if and switch. Now, in the next video, I will be discussing questions. So, I have shortlisted around 16 questions that I will be discussing in the next video. So, I will stop here. Thank you.